When you think of Scandinavia, what comes to mind? Cozy hygge nights? Breathtaking fjords? Perhaps the world's happiest people? Today, we journey beyond the postcard image to uncover the deeper essence of the Scandinavian dream. It's more than just happiness, it's a way of life. Number 1. The Scandinavian Dream, more than just happiness. Picture this, you're sipping coffee in a cozy cafe, watching snow fall outside. You've just finished a productive 6-hour workday, and you're not stressed about healthcare or your kid's college fund. Sounds like a dream, right? For many Scandinavians, this is just another Tuesday. Let's explore why these countries might hold the key to a happier life. Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland make up the Scandinavian region. These countries often top lists for happiness and quality of life. But why? They seem to have found ways to solve problems that plague many other nations. Understanding how they do this matters for all of us. Their solutions could help improve our own lives and communities. From green energy to great schools, Scandinavia has lessons to share. Let's see what we can learn from these northern neighbors about building happier, healthier societies. Number 2. Sweden, sustainability superstar. Let's start our Scandinavian journey in Sweden, a country that's leading the charge in sustainability. You might think going green means giving up comfort, but Sweden proves otherwise. They're showing the world how to live well while caring for the planet. Sweden has set some big goals for clean energy. By 2040, they want all their electricity to come from renewable sources. That's not just talk, they're already making it happen. In 2019, over half of Sweden's energy came from renewables like wind, solar, and hydropower. But what does this mean for everyday Swedes? Imagine waking up and knowing that your morning coffee is brewed with clean energy, or driving an electric car powered by the wind and sun. It's not a far-off dream in Sweden, it's becoming the norm. Sweden's not just focused on energy, they're also champions of recycling. In some areas, they recycle nearly all of their waste. How do they do it? They make it easy and rewarding for people to sort their trash. Many Swedish homes have different bins for different types of waste. There's one for paper, one for plastic, one for food scraps, and so on. It might sound like a hassle, but Swedes see it as a normal part of life. Some towns even have underground vacuum systems that suck waste directly from homes to sorting centers. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. But Sweden's recycling efforts go beyond sorting trash. They've created a whole system called extended producer responsibility. This means companies have to pay for the recycling of their products. It pushes businesses to make things that are easier to recycle or reuse. All these green efforts are changing life in Sweden in surprising ways. The air in Swedish cities is getting cleaner. Stockholm, the capital, has some of the cleanest air of any European city. This means fewer health problems and more enjoyable outdoor activities for everyone. Sweden's push for clean energy is also helping to keep costs down. While energy prices are rising in many countries, Sweden's focus on renewables is helping to stabilize costs. This means more money in people's pockets and less worry about rising bills. But perhaps the most interesting change is in how Swedes think about their impact on the world. Children grow up learning about sustainability from an early age. It's not just a subject in school, it's a way of life. This creates a culture where caring for the environment is second nature. Sweden's approach to sustainability isn't just good for the environment, it's good for people too. Cleaner air, stable energy costs, and a culture of responsibility are all making life better for Swedes. It shows that going green doesn't have to mean sacrifice. Instead, it can lead to a higher quality of life for everyone. Number 3. Norway, oil wealth to social welfare. Now let's move on to Norway, a country that's found a unique way to turn oil wealth into social well-being. While many oil-rich nations struggle with inequality, Norway has used its resources to create a strong safety net for all its citizens. Norway struck oil in the North Sea in the 1960s. But instead of letting this newfound wealth create a few billionaires, they decided to share it with everyone. How? Through something called the Government Pension Fund Global, also known as the Oil Fund. This fund is like a giant savings account for the whole country. Every time Norway sells oil, they put most of the money into this fund. The fund then invests this money in stocks, bonds, and real estate around the world. It's now worth over $1 trillion, making it the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world. But here's the clever part: Norway only uses a small amount of this money each year. They have a rule that they can only spend about 3% of the fund's value annually. This helps make sure the fund will last for generations, even after the oil runs out. So, what does Norway do with this money? They use it to fund their extensive social programs. Let's look at healthcare as an example. In Norway, healthcare is free for all citizens. You don't have to worry about big medical bills or going bankrupt because you got sick. The system is funded by taxes and oil money, ensuring everyone gets the care they need. But Norway's social benefits go beyond just healthcare. They also have generous policies for work-life balance. For instance, parents get a combined 49 weeks of leave at full pay when they have a baby. This helps families spend more time together without worrying about losing income. Norway's approach is quite different from many other oil-producing countries. In some places, oil wealth mainly benefits a small group of people, leading to big gaps between rich and poor. But Norway has used its oil money to reduce inequality and provide a good life for all its citizens. This doesn't mean life in Norway is perfect. The cost of living is high, and taxes are too. But most Norwegians seem to think it's worth it. They enjoy a high standard of living, excellent public services, and a strong sense of security. Norway's model shows us a different way to manage natural resources. Instead of using oil wealth for short-term gains, they're thinking long-term. They're investing in their people and building a society that can thrive even when the oil runs out. This approach could inspire other countries, not just those with oil. It's about seeing a nation's resources, whether that's oil, minerals, or even just tax revenue, as something that belongs to everyone. It's about using those resources wisely to create a better life for all citizens, not just a lucky few. Norway's story teaches us that with smart planning and a focus on the common good, we can create societies where everyone has a chance to thrive. It shows us that economic success and social welfare can go hand in hand. Denmark designing happiness into cities. Let's move on to Denmark, a country that's famous for its happy people and beautiful cities. Denmark often tops lists of the world's happiest countries. But why? A big part of the answer lies in how they design their cities. Danish cities, especially Copenhagen, are built with people in mind. They're not just places to work and live. They're spaces that help people enjoy life and connect with others. This approach to city planning is a big reason why Danes are so happy. One of the most striking things about Danish cities is how bike-friendly they are. In Copenhagen, more people bike to work than drive cars. The city has over 390 kilometers of bike lanes. These aren't just painted lines on the road. Many are separate paths, raised above the street level. This makes biking safe and easy for everyone, from kids to grandparents. But why does biking matter so much? It's not just about exercise or saving money. Biking changes how people interact with their city and each other. When you're on a bike, you're more connected to your surroundings. You can stop easily, chat with neighbors, or pop into a shop. This creates a more social, friendly city. Biking also helps solve many urban problems. It reduces traffic, cuts pollution, and makes the city quieter. People are healthier and less stressed. The city even saves money on road maintenance. It's a simple solution that has big benefits for everyone. But Danish cities aren't just about bikes. They're also designed around a concept called hygge. Hygge is a Danish word that's hard to translate. It's about feeling cozy, comfortable, and content. It's about enjoying simple pleasures with friends and family. How do you design a city for hygge? Danish architects and planners focus on creating spaces where people want to spend time. They build lots of parks and public squares. These spaces are filled with benches, play areas, and outdoor cafes. They're places where people can relax, meet friends, or just watch the world go by. Danish buildings are also designed with hygge in mind. Many apartment buildings have shared courtyards. These are like big, open-air living rooms where neighbors can gather. Even in the city center, buildings are often low-rise. This keeps the city feeling cozy and human-scaled. Danish architects also pay a lot of attention to light. In a country where winter days are short and dark, good lighting is crucial. Buildings are designed to let in as much natural light as possible. Public spaces are well lit at night, making them feel safe and inviting. One famous example of Danish design is the Superkillen Park in Copenhagen. This park is a mix of green spaces, playgrounds, and sports areas. What makes it special is how it celebrates diversity. The park includes objects from 60 different countries, chosen by local residents. There's a Moroccan fountain, Japanese cherry trees, and even a giant octopus slide from Japan. It's a space that brings people together and makes everyone feel welcome. Another great example is the Copenhagen Harbor. Just a few decades ago, it was a polluted industrial area. Today, it's a clean, vibrant part of the city where people swim, kayak, and relax. This transformation shows how good urban design can completely change a city. The Danish approach to city design isn't just about looks. It's about creating spaces that improve people's lives. When cities are designed for people, not just for cars or businesses, everyone benefits. People are healthier, happier, and more connected to their communities. Number 5. Finland educating for the future. Now let's head to Finland, where they're doing something pretty special with education. You might think school is all about tests and homework, but Finland has a different idea. They're teaching kids in a way that's turning heads around the world. In Finland, school looks a bit different. Kids don't start formal schooling until they're 7 years old. Before that, they spend a lot of time playing and exploring. When they do start school, there's a big surprise: no standardized tests. That's right, Finnish kids don't have to stress about big exams that decide their future. So how do Finnish schools work? They focus on learning, not testing. Teachers have a lot of freedom to teach in ways that work best for their students. They don't have to follow strict rules or spend time preparing kids for tests. Instead, they can be creative and make learning fun. Play is a big part of Finnish education. Even older kids get regular breaks to run around and have fun. Finnish people believe that play helps kids learn better. It gives their brains a chance to rest and helps them focus when they're back in class. Another cool thing about Finnish schools is how they treat teachers. In Finland, being a teacher is a really respected job. Teachers need a master's degree, and it's hard to become one. But once they do, they're trusted to do their job well. They don't have people constantly checking on them or telling them what to do. This trust extends to students too. Finnish schools give kids a lot of responsibility. They learn to manage their own time and work independently from a young age. This helps them become good problem solvers and prepares them for the real world. But does this relaxed approach really work? The results say yes. Finnish students often score among the best in the world on international tests. They're especially good at reading, math, and science. And they do this while spending less time in school than kids in many other countries. What's really interesting is how Finland's schools prepare kids for the future. They don't just teach facts. They teach skills like critical thinking, creativity, and communication. These are the kinds of skills that will be important in jobs that don't even exist yet. Finnish schools also focus on equality. All kids, no matter where they live or how much money their parents have, get the same quality education. There are no private schools in Finland. This means that every child has a fair chance to succeed. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how does it compare to other countries? Well, in many places, kids spend hours doing homework and taking tests. They often feel stressed and unhappy about school. In Finland, kids have less homework and more free time, yet they still do really well in their studies. The Finnish system isn't perfect. Some people worry that without tests, it's hard to know how well kids are really doing. And Finland's small, fairly uniform population might make it easier to run this kind of system. But there are still lots of lessons other countries can learn. So what can we take away from Finland's approach? First, trust is important. When we trust teachers and students, amazing things can happen. Second, play and rest are not a waste of time. They're actually crucial for learning. And finally, focusing on skills rather than just facts can prepare kids for a changing world. Number 6, the Scandinavian Tax System, paying for happiness. We've seen how Scandinavian countries create happy, healthy societies. But there's a big question we need to address. How do they pay for all this? The answer is taxes, high taxes. In Scandinavian countries, people pay a lot more in taxes than in most other places. This might sound scary at first. Nobody likes paying taxes, right? But when we look closer, we see a different story. Let's take Denmark as an example. The average worker there pays about 45% of their income in taxes. That's almost half. In the US, it's closer to 30%. But what do Danes get for their money? First, there's healthcare. In Denmark, you don't have to worry about big medical bills. If you get sick, you can see a doctor or go to the hospital without paying anything extra. The same goes for having a baby or needing surgery. Then there's education. Not only is school free, but colleges too. Danish students even get a monthly allowance to help with living costs while they study. Imagine finishing college without any student loans. Childcare is another big benefit. In Denmark, the government pays for most of the cost of daycare. This makes it much easier for parents to work and have kids at the same time. There's also support for the elderly. Older people in Denmark get good pensions and free home care if they need it. This means they can live comfortably and keep their independence. But it's not just about getting free stuff. These taxes pay for things that make life better for everyone. Clean, safe cities, good public transport, beautiful parks and libraries. All these things add up to a higher quality of life. Now, you might think that paying so much in taxes would make people unhappy, but studies show that Scandinavians are actually pretty content with their tax system. They see it as an investment in their society. In fact, a survey in Sweden found that 74% of people were happy to pay their current tax rates or even higher. That's because they can see the benefits in their daily lives. Of course, the Scandinavian tax system isn't perfect. Some people worry that high taxes might discourage hard work or business growth. But so far, Scandinavian countries have managed to stay competitive and innovative. When we compare tax burdens with quality of life, we see something interesting. Countries with higher taxes often score better on measures of well-being. They have less poverty, better health, and more equal societies. For example, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway all rank in the top 10 of the World Happiness Report. They also have some of the highest tax rates. This suggests that maybe paying more in taxes isn't so bad if it buys you a happier, more secure life. This approach to taxes and public spending is very different from what we see in many other countries. In places like the US, there's often a push to lower taxes and reduce government spending. The idea is that people know best how to spend their own money. But the Scandinavian model shows us another way. It suggests that by pooling our resources, we can create a society that works better for everyone. It's like a big community piggy bank that we all pay into and benefit from. Number 7, challenges and criticisms. Is it all sunshine and fjords? We've painted a pretty rosy picture of Scandinavian countries so far. But is life there really all sunshine and fjords? Let's take a closer look at some of the challenges and criticisms these countries face. One big issue is the high cost of living. Things like food, housing, and entertainment can be very expensive in Scandinavian cities. For example, a cup of coffee in Oslo, Norway might cost you $5 or more. Rent for a small apartment in Stockholm, Sweden can easily top $1,000 a month. This can make it hard for some people to make ends meet, even with good jobs and social benefits. Another criticism is that Scandinavian countries are too culturally homogeneous. This means most people share similar backgrounds and values. While this can create a strong sense of community, it can also make it harder for newcomers to fit in. Some worry that this lack of diversity might limit new ideas and experiences. Immigration is a hot topic in Scandinavia, just like in many other parts of the world. These countries have seen an increase in immigrants in recent years. While they've welcomed many newcomers, integrating them into society hasn't always been easy. There have been challenges with language barriers, cultural differences, and job opportunities for immigrants. It's also worth noting that life in Scandinavia isn't perfect for everyone. Despite strong social safety nets, there are still people who struggle with poverty, unemployment, and mental health issues. The long, dark winters can be tough on many people's mood and energy levels. Some critics argue that the Scandinavian model stifles innovation and individual success. They say high taxes and strong labor unions make it hard for businesses to grow and for people to get really rich. However, supporters point out that Scandinavian countries still produce many successful companies and have strong economies. Now, let's look at how these countries are tackling these challenges. True to their reputation for innovative problem-solving, Scandinavians are working hard to address these issues. To deal with the high cost of living, many cities are building more affordable housing. They're also looking at ways to make public transportation cheaper and more efficient. This helps people save money on daily expenses. When it comes to diversity and immigration, Scandinavian countries are making efforts to be more inclusive. They're offering language classes and job training programs to help newcomers integrate. Many schools and workplaces are focusing on celebrating different cultures and backgrounds. To combat the winter blues, Scandinavian cities are getting creative. They're designing buildings and public spaces to maximize natural light. Some places are even experimenting with light therapy in public areas to help boost people's mood during dark months. As for concerns about innovation, Scandinavian countries are doubling down on education and research. They're investing in tech startups and green energy companies. This shows they can balance social welfare with economic growth and innovation. What's interesting is how Scandinavian countries approach these problems. They tend to use data, research, and long-term planning. They're not afraid to try new ideas, even if they seem unusual at first. And they often involve citizens in decision-making through town halls and public surveys. This approach to problem-solving could be useful for other countries facing similar issues. Instead of quick fixes, Scandinavian countries look for sustainable solutions that benefit everyone. They're willing to invest time and resources to get things right. Bringing Scandinavian solutions home. We've seen how Scandinavian countries tackle big problems. Sweden leads in green living. Norway shares its oil wealth. Denmark builds happy cities. Finland makes learning fun. But how can we use these ideas at home? Start small, bike more, spend time in nature, make your home cozy, play with your kids. These simple acts can boost your happiness. In your community, push for better bike lanes or more parks, support local schools, vote for policies that help everyone, not just a few. Remember, happiness isn't just about what we have. It's about how we live and treat each other. What matters most to you? How can you build more of that into your life? If you can, visit Scandinavia. See these ideas in action. You might just find new ways to make your own corner of the world a little bit happier. Everyone, if you've made it this far into the video, I'm guessing you're finding it at least somewhat interesting. And if that's the case, I'm here to make a huge ask. I put a ton of heart and effort into this one, and I really believe there's something valuable here for you. But even more importantly, if you enjoy what you see, hit that subscribe button. It's the absolute best way to support the channel and make sure you never miss out on future content. And hey, don't be a stranger. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Ask a question, I read every single one. Your engagement truly makes a difference. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching. And if you decide to subscribe and engage, well, that just makes my day. Seriously. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.